way back there, there's a modified Thor Vegas Axis looking thing. I think it was supposed to be a hybrid or an electric RV. They have a lot of flat solar panels and a modified body compared to the Axis, what would typically be that chassis. Very cool. Oh, were we not supposed to fly our drone over? That's a brand new sign. Huh. What a lovely sleep last night, and it rained hard.
It did rain really hard, which Joel has been wanting so that it would wash our rig.
Yeah, wash our solar panels, wash the salty crap off the side of our truck and trailer. Well, and as soon as we washed our truck and trailer, they got super gross again, didn't they?
They did.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
But
they just cleaned it up pretty nice though.
Yeah, and it's hard to describe, but you know, there's a smell out here.
It smells like thunderstorm.
It smells like thunderstorm, farm, maybe a little formaldehyde. I like that. I don't know why I like that smell. Actually, the new car smell, I believe, is just formaldehyde. That's all that really is. But yeah, it's interesting seeing all the rigs. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but seeing all the rigs overhead. I mean, all the chassis. I actually wonder if Jayco's not more motorized now than they are travel trailer.
Kind of seems like it.
Well, we would typically take the tour, but it's the weekend. So actually, I believe the gentleman's name is John, who's in charge. He's like their social media marketing manager.
Something like that.
John, sweetest man. Kind of a dorky guy, but I really like him. You can take the factory tour and you hop on that little bus right there. It's so cute. And oh, funny enough, they put up another sign. They really don't want you to take videos, microphones, or cameras on a trip, which I think is kind of interesting. And 100% private property, their prerogative, cool. You know, but why not, right? Like, show off the product you should be so proud of, you know? Yeah. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
No.
And I say this having been on quite a few tours now, but it's interesting because I think these companies kind of get it a little twisted because Jayco, for example, sent us a nasty little email saying that we need to take our videos down. We didn't. Winnebago did the same thing, and we didn't. And it's unfortunate because I think that the issue is that I'm a little critical of the product. Although I would argue that in the last review I did of Jayco, I was rather complimentary.
You were.
For example, I will always say the truth, right? Like, if somebody does something really well that others can learn from, yeah, like learn from it, take it. And I want to give kudos. Why? And we already touched on this yesterday. It's because we love RVing. We love the RV industry. We want it to be a great experience for everybody. And honestly, sometimes people need to be checked. Companies need to be checked, right? And companies are just people. But also, like people, a lot of these folks don't like to be criticized, let's say. And they don't, when you hear something sort of negative, you don't always hear the positive that goes along with it. And so it's hard to read in. But I think that for such a mature company, it's a shame to see Jayco like that. But that is why we have a drone. We can at least show over. We don't always need to show inside the factories because it's sometimes just a marvel to see the pure landmass. I mean, they're spread out over there, over here, and these aren't all of the factories either. It's kind of amazing. I will say, Dora the drone is on her last legs. So I did what I could to prepare the drone, and we can't get it fixed. It's also like, we went to go get a quote for how much it would be to fix it. It would be as much to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Eventually, Dora will be replaced, but not yet.
Yeah, not yet. They actually have less expensive models out now that are a little more durable. I learned about that. I mean, maybe the video quality isn't quite as good, but I love flying that drone around and showing you guys stuff, and it is really cool. And I feel fortunate that we even have Dora at all.
Yep.
This is Emma Church. This is Emma Church Park. This is Emma Warehouse. This is Emma Building from 1931. It also happens to be the Emma store. And this is Emma in Emma, Indiana. This whole clip had to be done. Welcome to Shipshewana, Indiana, where they have, well, horse and buggy and cool signs like this.
And the world's largest flea market in the summertime.
Yeah, we've had, this is where we found Sully. So that was kind of cool. I gotta say, I'm surprised it's as busy as it is this time of year, but the weather's very warm.
It is warm today.
I don't even need this jacket, but if it rains, I'll be happy to have it. Yeah, this is such a cute area, right? Granted, it's funny because there's so many like little shops that are, they're kind of like grandma shops. There's a lot of grandma, and it's like sort of farm chic with a little less chic and a little more like apple paintings, you know, and like delicate tea things. Do you guys drink tea, and do you have a tea set?
There's a lot of like trinkets or tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes, yeah, that's a thing.
But we're gonna go walk through the downtown area.
Well, apparently, Amish chairs are the key here.
The Adirondacks?
Yeah, there's so many of them. Who'd have thunk? So obviously the Amish and Mennonite community, which, by the way, I think some people believe that Mennonites are like less strict, but from what we've been told, that's not the case always.
Yeah, apparently it largely depends on your church, but...
Yeah, and you'll be more strict in some ways and less strict in others, but it's all a religious deal. But the interesting thing is, right, because there's a lot of very large families here, the Bontraegers and the Yoder names are very strong in this community in particular. So Jayco was started by Lloyd Bontrager, whose middle name was Jay. So Jayco, but they also really like blue jays. One of his favorite birds. Well, after his passing, it would eventually be run by a Yoder. And so you see a lot of, like Yoder's Meat and Cheese Company. And perhaps they're not the exact same family or some generations have passed now, but it's kind of fascinating to learn a little bit of like the details of some of that.
Yeah, and you'll still see like Bontrager around here too.
And actually one of the sons, he even runs like a parts company, especially for like defective parts or things that rather are more rejected. Maybe there's like a scuff on them, but there's still good mirrors or something like that, which is kind of interesting to see.
Apparently they call it ship chic is the style around here. Shipshewana chic.
We're just gonna call it like Grandma's farmhouse. I don't understand why you would need to license your non-motor vehicle here, but I guess that's a thing. Hi guys, hanging out? Good, good. Also the gas can in the back of that. I would hate to run out of gas with my horse and have to push it.
Right.
That siren is not actually an active tornado, but apparently yesterday, about an hour north of here in Michigan, there was a pretty bad tornado that ripped stuff up. So this is just a test, and they do 2 of these on the weekends or something like that, or maybe once a month, but scary stuff. An hour, no, we had no idea. Oh my goodness, we just spent an hour at the visitor center.
Yeah.
Just chit-chatting and asking all the questions. What I love is that I ask some of the more spicy questions, let's say, and something that I already said this a couple days ago, but the folks out here, you can't offend them. You just, you ask your questions, you use common sense, and they are just like, yeah, this is it. And it's just so matter of fact, and I love this culture. I really love this culture.
And Miss Chris was wonderful.
Yes, just wonderful. So I'm gonna be honest, I cannot regurgitate most of what she because there's so much to know.
Yeah.
There's so much to know, but one long story short, it's fascinating because there are Mennonites and there are Amish, and Mennonites, for example, can drive automobiles. And there are also subcultures within each group. I think there's another group too, right?
Yeah, and she said there are, she goes, it's like Baskin Robbins. There are 31 flavors of Baskin Robbins. There are 31 flavors of Amish.
Specifically based on your geographic location. So where your house is where you're going to go to church, and it's every other Sunday. Something I learned. If you're Amish. And that's just fascinating in and of itself. And so, but you can see like the quilting and the fabrics are such an important part of the culture, and it's something that we don't see anywhere else unless you get like Joann's Fabrics, which are not going out of business. But why would that be?
Because you're making your own clothing, because you can get exactly what you want, and you can normally do it for a cheaper price. Cheaper,
and they have skills, and along with those skills, right, the women's that make the wonderful clothing, I think is cute. I think it's pretty. And do you ever see those little boys that like they're walking around with their little suspenders and look all adorable in their little hats, right?
Yeah.
They're always handsome little guys. And that's a skill. That's a real skill, and you and I couldn't do it. Yeah. We're not doing it. You know, we could if we focused on it. But they're out here, that's their culture. They save money doing that. And the other thing, and this is quite an important distinction, and I apologize if there's any wind noise, but it's windy.
It is windy.
But they also have a wonderful skill of craftsmanship, of woodworking and such. And you kind of ask, well, why is that? and it's multifaceted, right? And it started partially like you might go to an Amish school or you might go to a public U.S. education system, right? But until about the age of 8, and then they go to work. Some of these, many of these kids, which I kind of respect, honestly. Yeah. I kind of respect it because I found that high school wasn't for me. Like I hated high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the extra value. You don't have those other social pressures as well. You go to work, you learn hands-on skills.
And
right?
You learn most of your basic skills in school by 8th grade.
Yeah, by K8, yeah. That being said, there's also the fact that these guys aren't on social media. They're not listening to the news, and the news is a big thing that, like, we have talked extensively about how we avoid the news like the plague because it is a plague. It is a plague, and I don't, people get upset when I talk about it because they say, how are you educated and this and that, and how are you informed? And you can be informed without watching the news. And even if you were informed, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna get stressed out. It doesn't improve your quality of life. And these guys seem to have a really good quality of life. Overall, happiness seems off the charts here.
Yeah.
But because they are not distracted by social media, because they're not distracted by even things like alcohol, right? They're not distracted by drugs, alcohol. They are a dry community out here in Shipshewana. That's fascinating. More on that, actually. But all of these types of things lead to a culture that you've got highly skilled labor. They're really good at, they focus in and they perfect their craft. And most of us don't do that. We don't do that.
They work really hard,
They work really, really hard. And these are hardworking folks. They get up at, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever. They're biking to the factories, right? And then they come home. And then they're going and working on these farms and such. And it is such an interesting thing. I can't even begin to express that, like, there are pros and cons to everything, and there are people that like the Amish community, there are people that don't, and to each their own.
Yeah.
But even just being in a dry city, like we were talking about, like, alcohol culture is everywhere. Look at all the advertisements for alcohol, and really, if alcohol is a drug, and it is, alcohol is a drug, just as, and it's so fascinating. They don't have that here. And they'll actually bus people in to the city hall meetings when a company wants to sell alcohol, just to say, hey, no, we're not doing that. Like, they're gonna move you out of here if you start doing that crap. I love that. And you can see the town is it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a cute little town.
But they do have what I think is really interesting. I actually walked on it yesterday. They have this thing called the Pumpkin Vine Trail, and it's a big bike trail that goes from out here all the way to like Middlebury and to Goshen and to like where all the RV factories are. So you can get on your bike and you can ride all the way down miles and miles to work every day and then ride back, and it's a nice, safe way to travel. And it's a really nice trail. I walked it yesterday.
Yeah, it's so nice out here. And you know that we love e-bikes, and actually, as of recently, they can ride e-bikes, a lot of these folks out here. Because, again, a cultural or religious thing.
It depends on your church. Your church makes the rules.
Yes.
And then you follow those rules.
And there is a lot to be studied here, I think.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
So apparently, Amish popcorn is like crack.
There's a popcorn. We got it at the flea market last time we were here. They called it Amish crack popcorn, and it was so good.
All right, let's see if they have it.
Let's see if they have it.
Little sample at least. Oh my God.
Should we get a Michigan State popcorn bucket?
No. I think not. Boy. Buffalo breath. They've got pizza flavored popcorn. They got everything over there.
Are you guys seeing any other ones you want to try? The normal one. Do you want to try just regular butter?
Oh my gosh, how cute are these? Little cows. And somehow Emma has ended up with a big old bag of popcorn here.
Actually, this is a small bag.
Small.
I went in for Amish crack, and I tried it in a couple other flavors, and I actually found a different flavor I liked more, so I actually ended up getting the chocolate espresso flavor popcorn, which is really, really good. Not quite so sweet.
Ooh, how cool is this? Little koi pond right out in front. Can you see? There you go. Look at that. How neat is that? Cute little guys. And they'll only get bigger. This looks freshly stocked, actually. Davis Mercantile has been recommended twice. Actually, I believe the gal that's at the visitor center.
She did, yep.
Her family owns this.
Yeah.
Something like that. So how cool is that? Yeah, we gotta check this out. Apparently they just sell a lot of everything. Also, apparently you can get buggy rides here, and I kind of want to do that at some point. Maybe in the future.
Maybe.
That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, kind of tourist trap-y, I feel. Maybe a little.
They actually have decent quality stuff here. Like, you can actually get good furniture, good textiles and things like that. Kind of like that. Versus, just like, hey, here's some expensive but cheap fun,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can go on a carriage ride in Central Park in New York City, too, so.
Yeah, but is it an Amish ride? No. No.
You know, that's like
All right.
4 floors.
Oh, this is like a whole mall. Oh, Davis Music Shop. Okay, I love that. Man, if you are into music and guitars and such, which I have not played mine in a very long time, it's a shame. They're killing it here with little earrings and all that. They have everything you'd ever want to play here. How fun. Oh my gosh, is that a ukulele?
Honestly, I want the avocado one.
That is cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, here's a little directory. They even have a cuddle corner. Oh, JoJo Pretzels is a happening place. Look at that line, guys. Sheesh. You think they like coffee?
I found my kind of quilt.
Now that is a wonderful quilt. What a beauty. They have every color and pattern you could think of in here.
Look at all the Hawaiian shirts I can make, Joel.
Oh, what beauties. Maybe we redo our cushions with a little cover under this, huh?
Maybe.
A little spice.
A little spicy.
Whoa. There's a big old tree in the middle. Oh boy, this is a big Mercantile here. Wow. Lovely hand railings too. Oh, you guys know I love the bears. Little bear figurines always crack me up. Aren't they the cutest? What in the world?
Joel gets a little confused sometimes and yells "Roll Tide" a lot.
Roll Tide.
Just to make it very clear. In this house, we cheer for the Spartans.
Roll Tide. Okay, I think I found my favorite thing I've ever seen at any point in history. Look at that.
I feel like if Joel was a woodworker, he would make wooden ducks like this in different outfits.
Dude, it would be all ducks all day.
They have a bride and groom duck over there.
Dude, whoever made these should be rich. Are you kidding me? That is so funny. Mr. Right, Mrs. Always Right. Oh, how funny. There's like a whole carousel out here. When's the last time we saw a carousel?
Woodland Park Zoo.
That's cool. Oh boy, it is all sugar in here. Oh, gotta avoid that spot. So this is kind of interesting. Apparently there used to be a railway that comes through here, which I think there's still a rail system somewhere around here. This used to be a train depot. So it's kind of cool. They still have a caboose, but now you can rent bikes here.
Yeah, and apparently this used to be like a really historic part of town where like on one side was one family, on the other side was another family, and they were trying to like
They were like burning each other's barns down and houses down, which is, yeah, they're like, this is my town. I don't know. That's, and they had differing opinions on where the town should be. Well, fun fact, the town's over there on this side of the track.
Yeah.
So funny how that turned out. But it's also interesting because that was like in the 1890s from what we'd heard. And yeah, but now we have e-bikes. And so everybody's happy. I really wish we had e-bikes again. That would be fun.
One day.
One day. That's a pretty nice mural. That is also a nice mural. All right, back to the truck. I feel like we've really gotten our steps in today.
It's about 7,000 of them.
Man, and we've been very fortunate that the clouds have been a bit ominous, but not even a sprinkle
Not yet.
since this morning. It was pouring thunder and lightning and...
Apparently there's a tornado not that far away last night.
Yeah, I had mentioned that already, but yeah, that's wild. And it was far enough that we didn't get an emergency alert. Although if we did get that emergency alert, I don't know what we would do. I mean,
It would have
maybe the gas
where
station.
we are. Yeah, well, you just get low, so you kind of ditch.
Yeah, we should probably prepare that actually and do a little research. But like, honestly, I think we just grab Colt and like a backpack of like water and get the hell out of here. We should probably just make a little backpack. Anywho, I'm reading through some of these comments and it's really funny because I made a video, pure chaos trying to get factory tours. And I knew people were going to get upset, and boy, I don't think they know what we have coming. See, our members have already seen these videos, but we're scheduled out, I think almost 2 weeks now. And it gives us a little bit of buffer time for days that when we finally do get to realize, because we're making videos every single day, multiple times a day. I don't think you guys, recognize that. We both work pretty damn hard, and on top of doing, other work, we are scheduled out. And boy, people are not going to like what we have to say. And I noticed that the Brinkley fans are the ones. I'm actually wondering if it's not somebody Brinkley might have hired. They're the employees of Brinkley maybe saying, because I know that Jayco has had people that actually became channel members just to see what we were saying about Jayco, and I know the fact that these same people are not going to watch every video that we make, but boy are they in for a rude awakening when we give our reviews And people are not going to agree with everything. So, that's totally cool.
Right.
But I mean, we have nothing at all against any of these companies, really. So I just think it's funny. But actually, one of the comments was, we're looking at a Gulfstream Vista Cruiser with the twin beds, and now I wonder if they have factory tours. And that's what we're wondering as well. Their website doesn't specifically mention factory tours, which, by the way, in that video, the Pure Chaos, I actually mentioned, I didn't see it when I went on, and it's because I had accidentally blocked, or the browser actually blocked their form, because they do tracking and things in those. So I admit when I make a mistake and people go, I think you're just finding a problem. Well, in this case, we looked all over the site. Maybe it's on there, the factory tour for Gulfstream. Maybe it's not.
I found video tours, but not like a sign up for a factory tour.
No,
page.
In the information that we saw, it's like from 2007. So
I wonder if they went away with COVID.
it could have been, and that doesn't mean that we can't at least ask. So we're gonna actually head over there, and maybe there'll be a place for us to boondock, or something like that, and let's see what we find.
Yep.
It's a good adventure. All right, well, it was a little bit of a drive here. It's longer than I thought it was going to be, like 30 miles.
All these things are kind of like surprisingly far apart from each other, but they seem
cities.
so close, yeah.
Yeah. So we are near Gulfstream, which you don't ever hear about. You don't really hear, but clearly they're very popular units, and so we'll have to share all about this in another video, because this one's already too long. But yeah, we're kind of near Integra coaches, of all things, right? So we actually found what looks like a little campground. I'm wondering, they must be units that are in for service.
They all have service tags in the window, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
But Gulfstream's not working on them.
I don't know.
Right?
No idea.
Because Integra would be over there. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be that Gulfstream just gave them a better deal or something like that on out of warranty services, but I don't know. It's all speculation. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. It's been a really fun day.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it's so fun. Shipshewana. Did not expect it to be as much fun as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.